Michael, how should they best prepare? And landfall is expected in the coming hours. Would you say once landfall happens around noon is what we're being told, what are the implications then?
Well, at that point, if you haven't evacuated by now and you live in a low-lying area, or you live in a home that is not, hurricane stable, hurricane proof, then you're going to suffer damage. You may suffer physical damage. But as the hurricane actually makes landfall, there'll be a brief moment when that everything will be calm and quiet,
right.
Sun will shine, and people think it's wonderful. And then the other side of that will hit the coast, and suddenly, the proverbial, hits the fan again on the coast. So people might get complacent. They may also get complacent because, as we've watched this over the past few days, obviously it's killed people in Haiti. That's a frightening thing, but Haiti doesn't have the infrastructure that America has. So we may not have the death toll. People get complacent when these things start diminishing from a Cat 5 to a 4 to a 3, and they start thinking, well, I don't have anything to worry about. That's the worst thing people can do.
Should people be filling up their bathtubs with water? Or should they be reinforcing their windows? What else should people actually be doing around their homes to prepare?
Well, let's just think about it in terms of a typical homeowner. Yes, they should have water. They should have the kinds of staples that you can eat, without power. They need to make sure they have all of their insurance documents. They need to make sure that they have photographs both before and after the storm to document that for the insurance company. And they need to understand that FP&L, if they're without power, the power companies will do everything they can to restore power as quickly as possible. But what we forget is there's always the last guy that's at the end of the block that it might take a week or two to finally get to him. So people are going to have to be patient. And so to your point earlier, yes, they should have already been stocked up on water and staples and the things that they need to live without power for 1, 2 days or maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we know that the storm is centered around 25 miles east of Cape Canaveral and moving northwest around 13 miles per hour. What does that mean for the other surrounding areas? It seems contained in this area, and it was downgraded to now a Category 3, but should we be worried about what you mentioned earlier, that there's a possibility of another surge after things quiet down? And is it just isolated to that area?
Absolutely, because what people forget, let's just use Hurricane Katrina as the example. Everyone talks about the hurricane. The hurricane, of course, caused some damage, but the majority of damage, particularly to the levees, was the fact that after the storm passed New Orleans, went across Lake Pontchartrain, then that storm surge pushed back, and that's what breached the levees, and that's what caused most of the damage in those parishes. And so we see the same thing happening in Florida. The storm's downgraded, but once that storm moves, and again, let's not forget, as long as that eye is out over the waters, that's what gives the storm energy. And if it continues to pick up energy, it may go from a 3 to a 4, and we don't know that. It may also move. It may veer off to the to the northeast a little bit, and then suddenly come right heading back straight west. That's the very nature of a hurricane, unpredictable.
You've seen an incredible amount given Hurricane Katrina and your efforts there. But let me ask you about the preparedness today versus then. Do you feel better about preparedness?
Oh, I think, look, I heard Josh Earnest at the White House yesterday mention that FEMA was doing something unusual. They were experimenting by placing supplies and equipment outside the area where it might be damaged, but in locations where they can move in quickly. Well, I hate to disappoint Josh Earnest, but FEMA's been doing that for decades. And so that's what FEMA has been doing for the past several days, is making sure that supplies and equipment, that the urban search and rescue teams, the coordination with DOD, all of that is in place so that once it's safe for those responders to move in, they can. So this is nothing new. It's just the kind of thing that happens behind the scenes that nobody reports or talks about.
All right. Well, thanks for that insight then. Michael, good to see you. Thanks very much. We appreciate your insights this morning. Michael Brown joining us there.